The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he had sat down, his disciples came to him. He began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the land. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they insult you and persecute you and utter every kind of evil against you falsely because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Jesus Christ.
What makes you happy in your life? Jesus provides and outlines where we can find happiness in today's gospel. Some examples. Someone who inspired by the Sermon on the Mount we just heard was Dr. Tom Dooley. After graduating from medical school, Dooley enlisted in the Navy as a doctor. The big day of his life came one hot July afternoon off the coast of Vietnam. That's when his ship rescued 100 refugees from drifting helplessly in an open boat. Many of the refugees were diseased and sick. Since Dooley was the only medical doctor on the ship, he had to tackle single-handedly the job of giving medical aid to these people. It was backbreaking, he says, but he discovered what a little medicine could do for sick people. He said, like, hours later, I stopped for a moment to straighten my shoulders and made another discovery, the biggest of my life. I was happy treating these people, happier than I'd ever been before. And he went on and devoted his life to causes such as that. Dooley's experience on a hot July afternoon changed his life forever. He got it right. I visited a priest friend of mine years ago in Detroit, and one afternoon we volunteered at a soup kitchen. And I met the couple that ran that operation. They were doing it full time. This priest friend of mine told me they both had corporate jobs. And at one point, they left them because it wasn't giving them happiness. Now, at this new position, they were barely making it as a couple. But they told people they freely did this because God told them this is where they would be happy. And they are very happy. They got it right. A very successful businessman is also a very successful baseball coach when he is not working. He has the gift of getting young kids to work together and enjoy the game. He makes it clear that he is not interested in winning or losing. He is interested in teaching the skills, life skills of working together, accepting losing with grace, and winning with humility. He sees the game through the eyes of the Beatitudes today, not as the world sees them. He got it right. In the Beatitudes today, we are looking at a way of seeing clearer. Christianity is a way of seeing not as the world sees it, but as Christ sees it. It may look odd to us, but it only makes sense through the eyes of Jesus. A then 9-year-old boy by the name of Joey Russell, his most prized possession used to be a 1912 postcard of the original Titanic, signed by an actual survivor of the ship's sinking. When he was 9 years old, he saved up all his chore money to buy the postcard at an auction. Now, since then, the mania back then about the release of the movie Titanic, Joey had an excellent deal if he ever wanted to decided to sell the card. And he did sell the card, but not for his own profit. He saw something else. He saw the mother of a friend of his, best friend, Kate, needed a bone marrow transplant. That's when he offered to sell his card to raise money for the procedure. The mother would need, at that time in history, at least $60,000 in order to get the transplant. Without it, she may die. But it didn't stop there. Now, there was a talk show host that heard about Joey's act of kindness, and she invited him on her show. Then she introduced him to the entire cast of the musical Titanic. But that wasn't the only reason that she invited him to the show. That person, along with the Titanic producers, had arranged to buy Joey's postcard for $60,000. Now, his best friend's mom could get the transplant. See, the postcard's value was seen through the eyes of compassion and not monetary greed. Joey, the show people, they got it right. When I lived in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, I was a chaplain over a couple of hospitals over there when I was first ordained. There was a pastor I got to know, Foursquare Gospel. His son went to high school, and he always took his Bible with him. And he got a lot of grief, to say the least, for carrying his Bible around in high school. But what happened is that he didn't care, because he would tell people, look, this book gives me happiness, and it gives me life, and it gives me peace. See, he got it right. Right now, we have people living here legally who are afraid of what's happening across our country. And they're not coming to church, to work, stores, or even leaving their homes. There are some people in this parish and other parishes in the area I know that are not here. Other people are reaching out to them with food, encouragement, whatever they need. And that I would call the Beatitudes. They and we are doing what Jesus commands us to do. We all get it right. Last week, the River Falls Fire Department lost an important member of that fire department family and a good friend to the EMTs and the River Falls Fire Department. Last Monday, I had the privilege of being invited to go down to City Hall to meet with the firefighters, EMTs, and also some of the members of the police department as they debriefed what had happened to their member, Cody Peterson. They planned to go to the funeral. They told stories of his life. There were tears shed. There was anger expressed, but they were together. And as I was there to give whatever wisdom I had, the leader, he did a great job of guiding them through them. And I said, I had my list here, and you've kind of checked off everything. I said, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're doing what Jesus would do. To call, to be there for one another, to cry, to hug, to get mad, to get through the grief. I was over at the VFW. They had a final gathering locally this afternoon, and it was good to see some of the people there. And to all of them, I'd say they got it right. See, seeing with the eyes of Christ, the spiritual sight that Christ gives doesn't come easy in a world that's devoted to maintenance of our blindness. But we can find a cure for our blindness by prayer, good works, and reading Scripture. Open your eyes to God, that's all it takes. Now, the gospel of the Beatitudes is grounded in such an attitude of love that true blessedness, heartfelt happiness, and satisfaction is centered in Jesus' perspective of humility, mercy, compassion, and justice. See, for Jesus, titles, labels don't matter. Skills, talents are not the measure of faith. Jesus calls us to become people of beatitudes, to embrace a spirit of humble gratitude before God, and to respond to such unbelievable love the only way we can, by returning that love to others, God's children as we are, in whatever way we can, and a way of returning to God. When we do that, folks, we all got it right, because we have listened to Jesus. I got to add the warning, and because we do all this stuff, it just may suck, because you have to do the things that we must do and not what the world sees is important. But in the end, the only person that matters is God. And keep God front and center in your life, even if it means you're going to have to take some heat. And you do that, folks, you really got it right.